Depression can have a lot of different symptoms: a low mood, loss of interest in things you normally enjoy, changes in appetite, feeling worthless or excessively guilty, sleeping either too much or too little, poor concentration, restlessness or slowness, loss of energy, or recurrent thoughts of suicide. If you have at least 5 of these symptoms, according to psychiatric guidelines, you qualify for a diagnosis of depression.
Disinterest, check. Change in appetite, check. Feeling worthless, check. Excessively guilty, check. Lack of concentration, check. Wait, that makes 5, right? The first thing that you're most likely to do when you have symptoms is to Google them and self-diagnose your condition. What we do not understand, however, is that Google can provide a lot of conclusions and very few solutions. In the process, we might end up overdiagnosing our condition. For example, I may have a normal cough and cold, but Google will convince me that I have a tonsil. Now, a normal cough in itself can provide a lot of discomfort. So the takeaway from this example is that it is not just the extreme form of an illness that should drive us to fix the problem. After all, a cough may or may not lead to a tonsil. I wish I could go back to my hypochondriac self and guide her through it. During that time, I started reading a lot of articles and watching a lot of videos about depression. At first, I felt very suffocated, for there was no way one could predict if a person would be diagnosed with depression at any point of time in life. No trigger, no measures, like a thermometer which can measure the intensity of your condition. But gradually, as I started reading more articles, I was more intrigued with the topic. And one of the intriguing facts was how the tiniest hormonal imbalances could cause so much trouble to a person, and how something that originated in the mind could have physical manifestations. Another thing that intrigued me a lot was that how oral pills could help us with a condition that's essentially in the mind. Now, for the most intriguing fact about depression, the person having depression themselves might be unaware that they are in depression. One may seem fine but is actually not okay. So during this period of self-diagnosis, I also picked up this habit of observing the minute details each time I interacted with someone. I used to try and figure out if the person I was talking to was actually doing fine or just seemed fine. I still do it actually. Watching all those videos and reading articles actually made me an insightful person, and till date, each time I have to say something to someone, whatever it is, I think thrice, if not twice, because you never know what they are going through. But after a point, I got tired because none of this got reciprocated. I was trying to figure out if everyone was doing fine actually, and nobody was doing the same to me. Nobody realized that I was actually not doing fine. I just seemed fine. And then I started ignoring the fact. That nobody actually cares. Nobody's actually that sensible. To the point where I couldn't take it anymore. That's when, my friend, I entered the next phase, about which I'll tell you in the 4th episode.
You're listening to Speak Now, a podcast series where I, Shohini Banerjee, share with you my journey of knowing nothing about anxiety to getting rid of it.